Hey guys, what's going on? Tyler here, and in today's video, I want to talk about some Canon M50 Mark II rumors. Now, originally, the rumors suggested that the M50 Mark II was going to be released this September, as in next month, but I don't think it's going to be happening. Most likely going to be pushed back. I don't know if coronavirus had a lot to do with it or just 2020 in general just pushed things back. But there are a couple rumors and some speculation floating around about the M50 Mark II. So right now I'm using the Canon M50 Mark I, and I really enjoy this camera. It's so versatile, and I think it's a great starter camera for people who are looking to start with photography or start on YouTube with video. And for somebody like me who's been doing it for almost 10 years, it's a great backup camera or a spare camera. I use my C100 Mark II up in the studio, but if I'm around the house, I don't want to lug that huge camera and tripod around. This is a much lighter alternative that gives me really good quality footage. I made a couple videos on the M50 about why I bought it, about some of the best settings for video, and also about an adapter. That way you can use your EF mount lenses. So I'll link those all below and maybe a few up here in the cards, whichever corner that is. But let's just jump right on into the rumors. I'm not going to talk too much about the photography specs because I really don't use my M50 a lot for photography. But right now the M50 can do 10 frames per second taking pictures. The M50 Mark II is rumored to maybe have 14 or 15 with continual autofocus. And then obviously you're going to maybe get a bump in resolution and megapixels whenever you're taking your pictures. But like I said, I want to focus on the video. And with the M50 Mark I, the 4K video is like borderline unusable. Not because the quality is bad, but because it's just not reliable at all with autofocus. It doesn't use dual pixel autofocus. And I did a video a couple months ago on the Homestead channel which I was testing it out, and my gosh, did this thing just search for autofocus. I was sitting in the studio, lights on me, and it would just constantly just be searching for my face, and I wasn't moving hardly at all. And so 4K on the Canon M50 with autofocus is trash, but if you use it with manual, it's not too bad. You can get some really good quality footage. But I like autofocus. I like just being able to pick up the camera and go, don't have to worry about setting focus. Because my shots change a lot, and I just want it to be easy and simple. I have 2 kids now, and I don't have time to be trying to set my focus. Just need it to work. And so with the Mark II, I'm really hoping that they improve the 4K footage, that it can use dual pixel autofocus, and that it won't be just limited to 24 frames per second. I record my stuff in 30 frames per second. That's just what I use. That's my preference. I don't really have any scientific reasoning behind it like some people do. But that's just what I shoot in. And so I'd like to see 4K and 30 frames per second uncropped, because the Canon M50 does have a crop, and it's not the end of the world. I mean, I've used it cropped, and it's nice if you have to really pull an image in if you're far off, and then you can zoom it in just to, on your 1080p timeline even more. But, it'd be nice to have an uncropped sensor, just because, there's some shots where you just don't want it to crop, and you need a wide shot and you can't get it whenever you're cropping all of your footage. I would really, really like if they gave you 60 frames per second in 4K, but knowing Canon, that's probably not going to happen. But it would also be nice if we could have a bump up in 1080p, maybe 120 frames per second whenever you're recording 1080p to get some really nice slow motion. But I'm not going to hold my breath for 240 frames per second. You can just forget about that. But we've been surprised before. Another nice thing to have would be an electronic viewfinder. It's not a make it or break it deal for me, but it's just a nice feature to have rather than just have to rely solely on the flip out screen. Now, the battery life on the Canon M50 isn't the greatest, but it isn't the worst by any means. And I've had no overheating issues, so I want to avoid the overheating. Please, Canon, just don't bring that to the camera, because it's just annoying to have to deal with. But the battery life could be improved. It would be nice if you could charge the battery while the battery is still in the camera, either with, well, it would have to be USB-C. We're in 2020, give us USB-C for all the things. Let us charge the camera via USB-C. That way, oh my gosh, I was just doing another video and the battery died on me whenever I was recording. It would be just so nice if I could just plug in a USB-C port or a USB-C cable into the side of the camera and just finish with what I'm doing and just charge the battery at the same time. That would be great. All right, so now I'm gonna get a little bit picky and say that I want the SD card slot to be on the side of the camera rather than on the bottom with the battery. Just because if I have to swap out my SD card slot, I just hate having to take it off the tripod. Really, with the Manfrotto tripods that I use, I can actually get around to opening the cards or the battery and SD card slot without taking it off that tripod. But I'm using a generic tripod now, and the plate's so big that I have to unscrew the whole thing just so I can access that panel. But if they could at least move that to the side for the SD card, that'd be greatly appreciated. But hey, if you really want to be generous, give us 2 SD card slots, but I'm not going to hold my breath for that one either. And one more thing that I definitely want to mention and would be very appreciated would be the inclusion of actual inbuilt image stabilization. I don't want no fancy digital stuff because that usually doesn't work well at all, but we want actual inbuilt image stabilization because it just makes your footage look better. And the digital versions, they can really mess up your footage and give you artifacts that you really don't want. And so that's pretty much it for my wish list / rumors going around for the Canon M50 Mark II. Usable 4K footage with good autofocus and super slow motion for 1080p are definitely things that we need to have. It also would be nice if we could have a full-sized HDMI port on the side of the camera, because I hate having to look for those micro HDMI because they look just like micro USB. And of course, you know, with clean HDMI output, that's always amazing. And then, yeah, I'd be happy with all those other things I mentioned as well. But I'm not going to hold my breath for dual SD card slots or, you know, moving the SD card slot around. But, you know, I can dream, but usually Canon finds a way to cripple their cameras just a little bit because they got to sell, they got to have that upsell. They got to sell the next higher up line. And I know that frustrates some people, but it is what it is. I enjoy Canon cameras. It's what I've shot with for years. I enjoy the colors. I enjoy the menu system and just how they work overall. And plus I have lenses and I don't have to buy a whole new lens system. And so that's going to be it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know if you're excited for the Canon M50 Mark II down in the comments section below. Let me know what camera you guys are using for your videos if you're creating videos on YouTube or really wherever. And don't forget to follow me on all my social links. They're down in the description below as well. Make sure you subscribe and hit the bell. That way you're notified whenever new videos get uploaded. And so thanks again so much for watching. Leave a like on the video if you did enjoy it, and we'll see you guys in the next video. I like sitting down and recording in the living room, much more relaxed, but I tell you what, if these clouds keep going and coming like they are, changing my lighting, I might just have to go somewhere else.